So today for our debut HBCU Emerging Creatives program, we have my spelling sister, Miss Lila J. How are you, Lila?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So by the time this interview comes out, your new single "Fate" will be out. So tell us about how that song came to be.
It's actually a really funny story. So this song is actually a little bit over a year old, and it's been done for a year, but I just decided it was time to bring it out the vault. But this song is something I wrote it in when did I write this song? I wrote the song in junior year of high school.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and I'm now a sophomore in college, so it's been a minute. But I wrote it and I finished it, but the song, as you'll hear, is like it's a little love song, you know. And it's a song that I wrote for my actually I was a senior. I was a senior in high school. I wrote it for my boyfriend at the time because I was going away to college and he was gonna stay in LA where I'm from. And it was kind of like a little oh, we'll be all right, love you. We're still friends, but we're not together anymore. But I just decided that the song in itself is too beautiful to just, hide away and keep locked away. So I'm finally putting it out after a million re-records and a million remixes and, a bunch of should I put this out? Should I keep it? I've decided, it's time. We just gotta put it out. So I'm really excited for it to be
And,
out.
uh, and I love it. I got a chance to hear it before anybody else practically got to hear it. So I definitely love it. It's a great song. So now with that, being that we was in a pandemic for the past, it's about to be a year in March, I believe. During that time, what kind of sparked your interest with music? So was it like a resurfaced relationship that you had with music, being that you wrote it back in senior year? Or was it sort of like you would just listen to it one day and was just like, look, let me just put this out?
I mean, it's always kind of been on my mind. When I think about like music, I definitely want to increase my presence, like I went a really long time without putting anything out from the time I was in high school to earlier this no in 2020 when I dropped down. I hadn't put anything out, but I've been working on stuff, so it's always kind of been like in the back of my mind. And after I dropped down, um I knew for sure. I was like, Fate has to be the next one because it's like my baby, um and I always go back and re-listen to all my music, like even if it's not finished, like I'll just go back and re-listen to it just because I always feel like there's room for improvement, or maybe a new idea will come with me re-listening and revisiting that song. So I revisited it, and I was just like, this one it has to be it, the next thing that I drop, because all these drops are going to be leading up to a little project in the summer. So I just wanted to have a few familiar tracks on that as well. So it's kind of like a mixture of things that made me want to come back and put Fade out. But yeah.
That's dope. So you mentioned about your first single, Down. So now between both of the tracks, I definitely get like an airy, vibey feel, like a soulful vibe. So how did you find your sound as an artist?
Man, I'm still trying to find my sound. I was actually this morning looking at some new beats that I had received from some cool producers that I know. And I feel like they're all so different, and I don't want to. I mean, of course, you have to establish where you are at in the music world. Like you don't want to be too all over the place, because then your audience doesn't really know what to expect from you. And it's kind of hard to build a steady, solid base if you don't have that consistency. But I just I don't want to box myself in quite yet. I like
Right.
to say that I belong in the umbrella of R&B, the umbrella of like soul, but I feel like there are also some other, little subgenres in there, Um, but I mean, it, I've always loved R&B, I'm an R&B baby. And all the music that I listen to heavily influences the music that I make. like even when I was first starting out on like GarageBand and like, you know, making stuff in class when I was like in 7th grade, like from that time it's always just been like, what am I listening to? Okay, what can I get from that? How does that make me feel? You know, what would it sound like if I did it, you know? Um and it's you know, a process. I think I'm definitely still trying to figure out what my solidified sound is, but you know, for now I belong in the umbrella and I'm cool with that because it's more free, it's more freeing. I can do more of what I want instead of having to stick to one kind of beat, one kind of sound, you know?
Right. Right. It's definitely good to be under umbrella. It gives you flexibility, makes you versatile. So there's ain't no shame in that. There's definitely no shame in that. So with your creative process, is it more of you find the beat, write a song to it, and then it goes from there? Or is it like the song, the melody, then you make a beat around it? Or is it like totally different?
It's always changing. So it's both of those things, but I alternate. So most times I will find a beat. I'll sit with it. I'll be like, how does it make me feel? You know, what little phrases are coming and sticking. I like to just sit down with all the lights off, except for like these lights up here, and just listen through and freestyle and see what sounds good. And then I'll go back and re listen to it and write down like specific lines that I was like, yeah, this, you know, this hit. Um, but that's like my main process right now. I'll go back and then fill in the blanks with, you know, new lyrics that I have written. Sometimes I will do like I'll just be out like at Target or the grocery store and I'll be thinking because I'm a very cognitive person, and I'll just be thinking and then I'll think of a line and I'll be like, gotta go to the notes app, and I'll just write it down
Right.
and try and
In
plug
the,
it in somewhere, you know?
in the middle of the night, just the notes that just
Right.
comes out right before you go
Wake
to
up,
bed.
like, wait a minute, I got something. So yeah, it's a lot of both of those. I When I was first starting out, I would try really hard to do the method where, you know, you come up with the melody and then the lyrics and stuff like that, and then you build the beat around it. But I'm not quite there yet as a producer to be doing that. Maybe in the near future, but it's just, you know, whatever feels right. I do a lot of just like what my intuition tells me to do. So
That's dope. So now, being that you have, like a lot of people have random spurts of creativity and lyrics in the most random places, there are times where creatives like you and I have random spurts of creative block, writer's block, whatever it may be. So how do you get over those times? Do you kind of just like sit it and let it hit you for a minute, or do you try to like work through
so I'm very stubborn. Most of the time I
it?
will be like, no, we're not doing writer's block. I know it's here. I know it's hitting me, but we're not gonna give into that. And sometimes it works, you know, sometimes I can power through, but sometimes it doesn't work. So what I'll do is maybe I'll think like, you know, is it this specific song that's getting me stumped, or is it like I'm just generally blocked, you know? And most of the time it's just the song, so like I'll move on, you know, I'll find a different beat to write on, or I'll find, you know, something else that I stopped working on, and I'll go finish that, or I'll make progress on that. But if it's like a general I'm just not feeling it, I just like to distance myself, you know, for like a day away, you know, just get away from the music, because I think that sometimes I can put too much pressure on it, you know, and I don't like when I put pressure on it, because when I put pressure on it, it doesn't feel genuine, you know,
Right.
and I don't want my music to come off as like, oh, she forced this, you know, or oh, she, you know, because that's not, you know, that's not what music is to me. So I like to, you know, if I'm feeling that way, if I just need a little break, I will take that break. I'll go outside, I'll watch some Netflix, or I'll go listen to some other music and see if I can get inspired by that. Or I'll read something, you know, just like little things that I can do to get my mind off of it so I can come back with like a clean, you know, blank slate for creativity.
Right. So now, before we segue into like being an HBCU student, let's touch on inspirations just a little bit. So you mentioned about you listen to different music, you watch different shows. So who are like your top artists or your top shows or your top places to go, even in just in general, even when you're not in the writer's block?
Yeah. So I really like views. And that was something that I discovered over quarantine. Before I was just like, I'm gonna stay at home. I don't need to go anywhere. But now that I'm like, I have to be at home, it's like I like to be out in places where I can like see the skyline. You know, I'm in LA, so we got a lot of pretty city lights and a lot of
Definitely.
LA is actually really hilly, and I didn't realize that until I started going out. But we got some pretty cool views, you know, to look at the skyline from. So I like going out there. Shows, I watch a lot of reality TV. That's like my like guilty pleasure. And I will say that proudly. Usually I don't get inspiration from those, but that's just what I like to, you know, watch to get my mind off of it so I can come back. Um, there's a show called High Fidelity on Hulu, and it's kind of a show. It's not about music, but it's heavily musically influenced. Zoe Kravitz is in it, and she works at like a record store, and like every single episode like is a new song that I found, and I was like, oh shoot, like let me add this to my library because this is really cool. And that show is up there for me. Um, but in terms of artists that inspire me, of course SZA, that's my girl, since forever. Summer Walker, I'm really influenced by her earlier stuff, like the Last Day of Summer EP. That's like my favorite. Like I can sing that front to back any day
Definitely.
of the week. Um, I mean, I've always kind of liked Janae, but I'm starting to get more into like her Chilambo album because
Mhm.
before I kind of was just listening to like, you know, the stuff that really popped out to me, but I listened to it in totality. Is that a word? I listened to it completely from start to finish and noticed some like new songs that jumped out to me. So I really like that. Steve Lacy, he's like an LA guy, but you know, he's starting to branch out everywhere. So yeah, he dropped the lo-fis recently and I've been bumping that. Who else? Who else? The internet definitely inspires me a lot. Even though they haven't dropped anything in a minute. I still love them. And I would say even like when I first started out, that was definitely who I was going for. Like when I first started dropping music on SoundCloud, it was all about like the internet and like early Willow Smith. I was really inspired by the stuff she was dropping. Um, but yeah, so those are like my main influences. I also have some older, you know, like I really love like Nina Simone and I really love who am I getting to right now? Oh, Otis Redding. Oh my gosh, his
Wow.
voice. Are you kidding me? Otis Redding is chef's kiss. Um, who else? Irma Thomas. She sang the song that got really popular, but because of Black Mirror. I don't know if you've seen that show, but it's
I've
like
heard of it.
yeah, you should watch it. It's crazy. But
Definitely right after this.
she sang the song called Anyone Who Knows What Love Is Can Understand, and it's really popular, but I started getting into a lot of her other stuff. Um, and I just really like the soul in her voice, you know? I really like music that you can feel. So, yeah, those are like my main inspirations.
That's jiggy. Yeah, 'cause I definitely see the versatility with the artists that you listen to, and it definitely reflects in your music. So we're gonna touch on your earlier projects that you like released on SoundCloud later on. But being that this program, well, this campaign is targeted towards HBCU creatives, and you yourself are a student at the Spelman College. So
Illustrious.
the illustrious. So tell us about your journey, sort of why you chose Spelman and how it's going now, even though you only got to really witness one semester on campus, well, a semester in 2 months. So
Mhm.
how is it now as a student?
So I knew I wanted to go to Spelman because I came from a PWI high school. And I really wanted to be in an environment where I didn't have to worry about trying to fit in or being different, you know, because I found that in high school, a lot of my focus wasn't on music, wasn't on academics, but was on trying to like get through socially, you know,
Hmm.
and feel like I was a part of a community at my high school. Um, And sometimes I felt like I was a part of a community, but I realized that a lot of it came down to me being a Black girl, and there weren't too many of us at my school. Um, so I realized that I really needed to land in a place where I didn't have to focus so much on trying to fit in. So where I a place where I could focus more on what I actually wanted to focus on, music, school, just being my greatest self instead of trying to worry about, oh, they think I'm different. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. So I landed there. It was really close between three schools. It was Spelman, it was Howard, and then it was Berklee College of Music.
Wow.
And
So those are like your three decision makers. They're
yeah,
all incredible schools.
yeah. And it was a really hard decision because I was like, if I go to Berklee, it's music. Like that's what I want to do. It's gonna put me like right on path. But the thing was like I also kind of want that college experience, and I'm not really sure how much Berklee is going to give that to me. Like they don't have sports, they don't have like an actual campus.
Right.
So Berklee was ruled out. And then I was like, it's Howard and Spelman. What do I want? And then I was just thinking, Atlanta, it is like the breeding ground of all Black creativity right now. And I was like, there's no better place for me to be than to be surrounded by other Black creatives. And I'm sure that, there's a great scene in DC, but in Atlanta, it's like really jumping out right now. You know?
Right.
And my brother actually had just graduated from Morehouse. So I was like, it just makes sense to me.
Right.
And to just be surrounded by all Black women, like I'm incredibly inspired by Black women because that's my family, that's my mom, that's my grandma, that's my auntie, that's everything. They've taught me all the lessons that I've learned in life. So I was like, to be surrounded by that and taught by that and just like nurtured in that environment, along with being in that music scene and that entertainment scene, is just gonna, really get me what I need from my college experience. So Spelman was definitely the right choice for me. I love my Spelman. Right now I'm a little sad because we're virtual, but I know it's for the best. Like, of course, there was no other way to do it because
Right.
COVID. But I would say that my experience is still going how I wanted and expected it to go. And I'm very thrilled with the opportunities that are presenting themselves because I chose to go to this school. So
Yeah, definitely. And it seems to be benefiting you well. And so now, as an HBCU creative, how has that impacted that scenery, being that you believe that Atlanta was the new breeding ground for Black creatives, Black entertainment? So, you as a Black woman and as a creative and as an HBCU student, how does that all blend in? So, have you viewed it as, greater than you thought it would be? Has it been sort of, kind of iffy for you? Like, how is it now?
I would say way greater. Like I was expecting. I'm a little shy, so it kind of gets me a while for me to like get my footing in new settings. But I I realized like at the end of first semester freshman year, I was like, I'm surrounded by so many talented people. So many talented people, like all across the AUC. Like I've met so many talented singers and producers and musicians and actors and dancers. Like all the arts people that I've met are incredible. And to be in that environment for me was just like, dang, y'all are really out here doing it. Let me do something too. Let me put
Right.
my face out. Let me people, let me get people to notice me because I saw all these people doing all these incredible things and they were inspiring me. I've heard some amazing voices and I was like, dang, I need to get on your level. I need to stack my chips up and
Stack my
think about
chips up.
it. But yeah, so I tell people this all the time, like literally I'm a person that loves to be around creative people, period, regardless of where I'm at. But being in that environment, seeing all these really talented Black people be very serious about their craft, being very serious about what they wanted to do, definitely put things into perspective for me, like I want it. So let me, push as hard as they are. Oh, let me put my name out there. Let me network. Let me collab.
Right.
there are so many opportunities for that, and I'm 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 grateful, that I'm having this experience because I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about the art, like 100 out of 10 experience for sure.
That sounds great. Cause yeah, definitely I seen you blossom. Cause remember the first time that we met, it was all like we knew that each other did music, but we didn't really know what the
Mhm.
sound was kind of like. And then your earlier projects on SoundCloud is when I really got to know your type of music and your type of vibe. And now that you have Fade Out now and Down that was released a few months ago, it's definitely been taking off ever since then. So it's incredible. So now with your earlier SoundCloud projects, do you feel as if those were kind of growing phases? Those were, you still want to keep that same vibe? I know you say you want to be a versatile creative. So overall, how do you feel about those earlier projects? I know some people they feel like OMG so cringy. I hate it. I don't want to listen to it ever again. But some people, they want to keep it because it's kind of like, that's history right there.
Mhm. So I've made most of the things that I think are cringy private on SoundCloud. So only I have access to them. Like I used to do SoundCloud covers along with
Right.
like my originals. And I did this like slowed down ballad version of Hotline Bling. I hope that's private. It might not be, but
If
if
it
it's not,
is, we're gonna link it.
I'm gonna go change it to
Nah, we're gonna link it before you get a chance to change it.
no. But yeah, so like I mm, I go back and I listen to my SoundCloud often. I think that it kind of grounds me and connects me back to my roots in music. Um, because as I'm growing and as I'm evolving and as I'm, taking in all these different influences and all these different things that people are doing musically, sometimes my personal vision can get a little bit clouded, if it makes sense. Like I see all these
Hmm.
fantastic things. I'm like, oh, I could do that, oh, I could, start doing this in my music. But it kind of takes me back to like, okay, but what is your sound, like
Right.
there's so many things that I could adopt from other artists, but it's like that would just make me a copy, of everybody else, so I like to go back and listen to those things because they kind of just pull me back into like what did I start from, where was I trying to go, and sometimes they give me new ideas about like what I could do actively in my newer music. They definitely helped me grow as an artist. Like I was my earliest song, like the first song that I have on SoundCloud. I know it's private because it's horrible, um, but I think that every stage of my music has definitely been an evolution. Of course, that's
Right.
what it is. You live, you learn, you create, you grow. Um, but I think that I really enjoy like the quirkiness of what I have on SoundCloud, Like some of my earlier stuff is not at all like Down or not at all like Fate. Um and I think those are definitely things that I'd want to return to in newer music, and kind of am returning to a little bit with the new project that's going to be dropping this summer. But I think that I'll keep some of them up for history. I made like a little playlist that has all the ones that are public, just so I can kind of go back and if people ask me how did I start out, I'll send that to them. Um, but the rest of them can go. The rest of the cringy stuff, we don't need to see all that.
Not
But
yet. You probably release it later on down the line once you become big, successful, and all that stuff. Be like, hey, this is where I really started from,
right,
and we're
I
gonna be
I
like,
actually had the idea to go back and re-record some of the stuff. Like there was a song that I did. Actually, it was for a class, but I did the song for a class, and it was a little bop, a little like like what year was that? 2015 maybe.
wow, that's
But
way back.
yeah, 2015, like pop alternative kind of sound. And I was like, if I redid this could be something. This could be a little vibe. But yeah, so definitely might revisit some of them, might re-release some of them with better quality. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely can't wait to hear it, especially the new album that you keep teasing about this summer. So now with this program, of course, there's going to be a couple of people, well, a lot of people that doesn't really know who you are, and this is why we give creators like yourself an opportunity to expose themselves, highlight them, show what they're doing. So if you could say something right now to the people that don't know who you are, what would you say?
I'm really bad at questions like this. Oh, let's see. What would I say?
Or let's change it. Let's rephrase it.
Mhm.
So how I say it. If I've never heard your music, which might be some people that's watching this, and hopefully they go listen to the Down and Fate and the other projects that might be out by the time they watch this, what can we expect to hear
Um,
as a like as an artist, as a creative? What can
yeah.
we expect?
So I'll say this from a creator standpoint. Um, I like to make music that makes people feel good, you know, or at least feel recognized, feel seen. So all the music that I have out now is like, I think that they make you feel like with Down. When I listen to that, I kind of like feel warm, with Fate. When I also feel warm. I feel warm a lot, but with those specific songs, like I just want people to be able to find something in them, and really take that away. I want people to feel things when they listen to my music. um what else could I say? um
What can we expect next?
Next, definitely some different stuff. I've been working on a lot of really different stuff that doesn't really fit into the same categories as Fate and Down. I actually got this really cool beat pack the other day, from this guy that produces with my brother, and it's a lot of like kind of different stuff. I'm really excited. Like there's like some cool like 8-bit kind of sounding beats and like some other school some other cool stuff. And I would say just, be on the lookout for some real hard hitting stuff, I would say too. Like I definitely with the two songs I have out now, they're more feel good, but life is not all feel good all the time.
Facts,
So,
facts.
so I'm trying to branch out more into some of that, I'm not okay, but I'm gonna be okay kind of music. I've really been getting into like I said before, when I was talking about my inspirations, Irma Thomas has like some incredible, passionate, like soul wrenching songs. And I really appreciate the beauty and vulnerability of that. And I'm definitely starting to reach into that kind of mindset when it comes to a few of the songs that I'm writing right now. Just because I feel like, again, like I want my music to make people feel, I want them to feel seen. I want them to feel like somebody else is going through what they're going through, like they have, somebody to relate to. Yeah, that's what to expect. Of course, like some more like, little cute vibes, or some more like driving down the coast, with the top down, sun shining songs, but also, some real stuff.
Right. So, Lila, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was such a
That's dope.
pleasure.
And if you haven't, go stream Down, go stream Fate. And if you're listening to this anytime past February in the future, listen to some more of her recent work. Thank you so much. Peace.